Hey guys, how's it going? Randall here. Well, it's a beautiful day. Out doing some mowing for my Hustler Raptor, and everything was going fine, and all of a sudden the mower quit moving. It won't go forward, it won't go backwards. So we're going to have to look and see what's going on with it. So stay tuned. Just won't move. No matter what, it won't move. Doing a little mowing and moving right along, and all of a sudden the mower, she just decides to quit moving. So we're gonna have to take a look at that and see what we can figure out with it. Stay tuned. All right guys, I'm back, and we'll show you what we found here underneath the mower. As you can see right here, that bolt is loosened up, and it has allowed the belt to come off of the drive pulley on each transmission here. Right up there's the drive belt, and right there's the pulley. There's supposed to be a belt on there. As you can see, there's not. That controls the drive for the transmission for each wheel. Got one on the right and one on the left. And right there you can see the bolt for the left side, or the driver's side, if you will, of the riding mower. You see it's nice and tight, and right above it is the pulley for the drive for the left side of the transmission, the left wheel. So there it sits here in the yard in the sun, away from everything. So I think it's time to see if we can get this moved around to a better spot to work on it. All right, so I think here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna use my trusty daily driver here, nice 96 Suburban. Now we're going to take this tow rope and see if we can't pull this mower and get it moved around where we can work on a little easier, a little better spot, and let it cool off in the shade. So yeah, here we go. I got it hooked up now, and I'm just going to back up real slow and see if I can't spin this around. We'll probably rehook it and try to get it to pull straight, and I'll back it up into some shady area. Now that we've found the problem and we're going to move it, we need to do a couple things. We need to go ahead and pull this release down here. I know the drive belt's off, but I don't want to take a chance of damaging anything, and it's just good for you to know that there is these releases here on these Raptors that you pull to right there. You pull them and they got a little notch in them. Lock them out in place so that they don't move. I mean, so that they stay locked out, and that releases the transmission, kind of puts it in neutral, so that you can push these or pull them or whatever you need to do to move them if they won't run. So put those up to release the brake. Now we're ready to go. We'll give it a try. Got her spun around, and I think as long as she's going to pull fairly straight, we'll just go ahead and keep on moving. pull nice and easy. Try to see if we can't get this moved into a good spot here. Back around my house here and try not to back into a tree. Now I could stop right here because it is in the shade, but I want to go ahead and put this up in the up here on the driveway where I have asphalt. Where I can jack the thing up and set it right there in the driveway. Now let me get out and unhook this thing so that we can get busy. Takes that tension off that. All right, as you can see, it did just fine. No problems, didn't hurt anything. Okay, folks. Okay, I got my jack, and since I added that rear engine guard, good heavy piece of steel, bolted onto the frame, I think we can probably jack from there and get this thing up in the air, and I'll put some jack stands under it to support it so that we're safe, and then we'll see what we can do underneath. Okay, after I got the jack stand set here, you always want to take and give it a shake test to make sure it ain't gonna fall on you. You don't ever want to crawl under a vehicle or anything unless you check it to make sure that it's good and solid and it's not gonna just randomly fall. Normally I would also leave the jack under it to support it as a secondary, just in case the jack stands give out. But in this case, the jack is right where I need to be. So I'm gonna have to take this down and move it out of my way. And then we'll see what we can do. Here we are. Give you another look at this bolt that's loosened up. It does have a nut on the back with a nylon insert, so it locks onto the bolt. But as you can see, this one has loosened up. From what I understand, it's a pretty common problem with these Hustlers. There may be others that do it as well, but I just know about the Hustlers because that's what I was researching, and they were talking about the nuts loosening up on them. And as you can see, there's a nut on the other side, and it's still tight, but it's the kind of nut that has a nylon insert that's supposed to keep it from moving, and generally they do lock down pretty well and keep them from coming off. But yep, so we know we'll have to tighten that up, and I'll have to figure out how that belt is supposed to be routed. Okay, so pull the belt out a little bit. I'm gonna have to, it has a tensioner right up here, and I'm gonna have to pull that spring off that tensioner. See if I can get that tensioner out of the way. Maybe see if I can get this belt pulled out a little bit. Looks like the belt's got some cuts to it, which doesn't surprise me since it was thrown off its pulleys. Yep, we'll have to replace that one. So, looks like we'll have to take this drive for the deck blades, this belt off, in order to get this one off, because yeah, I could cut it and get it off, but I got a new one I got to put on, or I'll have a new one I have to put on, so I might as well go ahead and drop that belt. I know you guys didn't get to see it, but here's what I did. Grabbed a hold of the belt and I pulled back to get the tension off of it, as you can see, and I was able to slip the belt off the pulley. And when I did, it was able to pass between this side on the belt, but this side here it wouldn't. So in order to get the belt off, the drive belt, what I had to do was I pulled this back, had the belt slid it onto this pulley, slid it off down this side, pulled this belt and got the gap in there, and was able to slip the belt out, and that one's staying there in place. So I think for now I'm gonna leave it like that, and I'll leave it like that till I get the new one and put the new one back on. Okay, I've got my old belt. I think we'll run it into town and stop at Napa and see if they can match us up with one of their belts that they've got. Shouldn't be a problem. It looks like a regular fan or alternator belt. So we'll go see what they got. Okay, I ended up getting the belt at the dealer where I bought the mower. All right, so we've got the new belt for the 54-inch mower. And so now we'll see if we can't figure out the routing of it and get this belt put on. Okay guys, so actually it was quite easy to put the belt on. Again, I had to pull the belt for the deck. You know, I could have made this, you know, took the belt off the deck and got it out of the way, but it's working fine the way it is. So I was able to just pull the belt back, slip the other belt between the pulley and the belt to get it up top here. And then once I had it up top here, I was able to start threading it around the pulley, the main pulley there in the middle. First, I guess I should say, the pulleys on each side for each wheel. That's got the fan right above there. You can see that one, and there's one back here on the other side. I put them over those pulleys first, and then I fed them around the center pulley. I got them over that center pulley. Had to come underneath this idler. Once I got it underneath the idler, I was able to get it up and around that main pulley, and then laid it around the idler. So once I was able to get around the idler pulley, the last thing I've got to do is put the spring back on and put the tension back on it, and the drive belt will be ready to go. And then I need to put the deck belt back on that pulley, and then we should be back in business. Oh, and I need to tighten that bolt up too and make sure there's no other bolts loose. So that's what it's taken so far. So far it's not been too bad. Okay, so I got that spring put back on there. It is a booger to put on. I used a long skinny screwdriver, and I put it through that open end hook of the spring, put the screwdriver against the tensioner, and pried out and slid the spring down onto the bracket, and very carefully was able to work the spring into the hole. You can see right there the end of the spring sticking through the hole. And once I had it through there and it was hooked, I was able to remove the screwdriver. And now we have the belt on here, and it is tensioned. The last thing I need to do down here is I need to pull that belt back and slip it up onto that lower pulley. So I'll do that now. Okay, as you can see, I have the belt back up on the pulley, and I found it easier to drop the deck down to the lower position, and as if I was mowing. I think I've got mine set on, I don't know, G. I don't know, I'll have to take a look at it. But by dropping it down, it gave me a little bit more slack in the belt, and I was able to pull it back and slip it up and around the pulley. So last thing we got to do is take this thing and tighten that bolt up, Make sure I don't have any other bolts that are loose. Once that's all done, I will go ahead and get this thing down off the jack stands and check and make sure that everything is okay, and then we'll fire it up and see if it moves. Okay, you can see I got it tightened up. Looks like there's a slight gap, but it is really tight. It ain't going any tighter. So let's see what this side looks like. This side's about the same. And I checked it and it's tight too, so I think we're good to go. So now get this down off the jack and off the jack stands and see how it does. Okay, I got it off the jack stands. So now we need to, don't forget, and pull and release the levers here that disengage the transmission, because we want to engage it. We want to make sure it's engaged, because if you leave those pulled out and then you try to move the mower when you're done and you left those levers pulled out, well, guess what? It ain't going to go anywhere and you're going to think you've got another problem. But we've got them put back in, and I let the jack down. I'll get the jack out of the way. Now we'll jump on here and see if it'll move. All right, guys, let's give this a try and see if it works. Now that we've had a successful fix and the mower's working again, you guys missed out on some of the repairs, the majority of the repairs, I guess, because you didn't actually get to see me slipping the belt up in place and putting it on the pulleys. But if you enjoy this, please hit the like button for the video and subscribe to my channel and share my channel with your friends.